What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I'm bringing you an expanded deck centered around Primarina-GX. And before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you guys like this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, and maybe subscribe. It really does help us out a lot and lets us do more for you guys. And as for the question of the day, before I clicked on Primarina, you might have noticed the rest of the deck list and noticed that it is remarkably similar to the deck that Jacob von Wagner used in the 2015 World Championships. And yeah, I'll be honest, this is pretty much an identical list. I just swapped out the Wailord and Articuno for two Primarina-GXs. But either way, my question of the day has to do with the fact that this was a very rogue deck, completely unseen, and in the last two World Championships, the deck that has won it all has been a deck that was not even remotely considered top tier. Nobody had any idea really about it going into the World Championships. In fact, in the case of Jacob von Wagner, it was all Night March, and then last year it was the... well, again, it was Night March with Mega Audino just coming through. Like, nobody saw it coming at all. Nobody saw this deck coming either. And my question of the day is, let's just say you made it to the World Championships. Would you rather bring a deck that everybody knew was top tier, but, I mean, of course the deck was top tier, or would you try to go with a rogue deck like Audino or Honorstoise and just kind of go big? Now, if you had to ask me, overall, sorry about that, I was just trying to move around the Camtasia recorder. Overall, I think that the safest way to make top 8 would be to go with the tier 1 deck, with the deck that everybody has considered the best deck in the format. I think that that is 100% the way to go if you just want to make top 8. However, if you're going to win the entire World Championships, I really do think that it is a case of go big or go home. If you use the deck that everybody knows is top tier, you're going to run into mirror matches, and there's going to be a match where you just don't draw well, or you don't draw the right card when you need it for the mirror match, and you're probably going to get knocked out. I mean, the World Championships is hugely about luck. I mean, don't get me wrong. Players with high skill level are always near the top, like Igor Costa, Jason Klaczynski, guys like that. There's a reason that those guys are always near the top, but either way, making it to the World Championships, making it to the top 8, is hugely about luck. And I think that if you want a shot at winning Worlds, you can't just go with the deck that everyone is expecting. You have to be original, you have to catch people off guard, and you have to go big. So, in my opinion, want to make top 8, use the best deck, use the consensus best deck. If you want to win it, you have to go big. And, but, I mean, then again, that is just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below and why. But anyway, on to the deck. Like I said, this is a altered version of Jacob von Wagner's deck, Honorstoise, except I threw Primarina-GX in there with 250 HP, so ridiculously bulky. It's as bulky as the Wailord that is normally in this deck. Bubble Beat, for a DCE, does 10 damage, and then it does 20 more damage times the number of water energy attached to your Pokemon. So really, as soon as I saw that, I knew that this would immediately need to be paired with Deluge Blastoise. As for the rest of the card, Roaring Seas, I mean, I honestly think that is Rough Seas every time I read that. For 4 energy, does 120 to discard an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. Meh, it's alright, but, I mean, this deck is really centered around using Bubble Beat with Primarina-GX. And then finally, the GX attack, Grand Echo, heal all damage from all of your Pokemon. Now, that might seem like well, I mean, it's good, but it doesn't, really knock out a Pokemon, it doesn't delete a problem. This is actually incredible in this deck, because you have Primarina with 250 HP, it's not going down in one hit. You have Keldeo's with 170 HP, you have Rough Seas to get rid of, we'll put them out of one hit KO, or not one hit KO, but 2-hit KO range of certain attackers. And then Grand Echo, if you have a bunch of energy built up on the board, just heal it all off. So I think that this attack actually works really, really well in this deck, but like I said, this deck is completely centered around Bubble Beat. and getting a bunch of water energy into play onto the right Pokemon and going from there. Now, initially, when I saw Primarina and knew that I paired it with Blastoise, I immediately knew that Archies would have to come into play, because running two Stage 2 lines in the same deck would be ridiculously clunky and would be very, very difficult to get out consistently. So I decided to go with a very unorthodox approach and try to go for double Archies targets. And yes, that is as crazy as it sounds. That means that you're going to be the goal of this deck is to Archie twice in a row to get out a Primarina and a Blastoise. Is this the best build for Primarina? I have no idea. I just saw this, decided to try this out, and it's actually been working pretty solidly. I've been able to Archies quite a bit because of how well tailored this deck is to being able to get consistent Archies. But I'm just going to start from the Pokemon on the beginning and go from there. I mean, Shaymin, y'all know why Shaymin is in here. Shaymin, setup, get more cards, all of that. Be able to draw into more of your discard cards to be able to play your hand down to 1 for that Archies. To Exeggcute to help with, really it just helps with the math with your hand, because if you have too many discard cards and you don't have enough cards to discard in order to play an Archies, Exeggcute with Propagation, once it's in your discard pile, you can put it back into your hand. Really does help out. Just be like, okay, I have an Ultra Ball and a VS Seeker. Oh wait, I have 2 Exeggcute in the discard pile. I'm fine, just double Exeggcute, Ultra Ball those away, grab something or fail it, and then you can Archie. So really, Exeggcute are invaluable in this deck and for the strategy of being able to consistently Archies. 2 Jirachi-EX, I mean, I'm running, well, Jacob ran very, very heavy. I mean, this deck was entirely focused on getting a turn 1 Blastoise at all cost. I'm doing this turn 1 Blastoise, turn 2 Primarina at all cost. So a couple Jirachi are in there to search out the Archies. That way, like an Ultra Ball and 2 cards can turn into an Archies, which turns into a Blastoise. So that is very, very nice and very valuable in this deck. Mewtwo is in there just kind of for type coverage, because Keldeo, Primarina, and Blastoise all have the pesky grass weakness, so if you go up against a grass deck, you are in a pretty bad position. Mewtwo just helps out with X-Ball, being able to be like, okay, I'm not going to get hit for weakness on this Pokemon, then X-Ball gets powered up by water energy anyway, so Mewtwo is a very solid, I guess, tertiary attacker in this deck, because you have primary attacker Keldeo, well actually primary attacker Primarina, secondary Keldeo, and then tertiary is the Mewtwo. Of course, we have 3 Keldeo in this deck, because Secret Sword, I mean, that was the main attack of Honorstoise, just powering that thing up with a bunch of water energy, destroying something, and then Rush In is ridiculously good in this deck. Just be like, oh, something's active that I don't want active, okay, Keldeo is now active. Beautiful synergy with the rest of the deck. And then 2-2 of Primarina and Blastoise, just get those suckers in the discard pile as quickly as possible and try to Archie them out 2 turns in a row. As for the item cards, once again, 100% centered at milling through your deck to get the combination of cards that you need to pull off consistent Archies. For Acro Bike, discard a card. I mean, this card is great for like getting, if you, well, I guess if you play an Acro Bike and you get like a Primarina and Ultra Ball, that is a beautiful selection, because you grab the Ultra Ball and discard the Primarina. So therefore, even though you had to discard a card, it was exactly a card that you want. There's just so many cards that you want in the discard pile in this deck that Acro Bike's downside of having to discard one of them really, really is mitigated. Running 4 Battle Compressor to immediately try to put things like the Exeggcute, Primarina, Blastoise, and 1 of the Archies in the discard pile. You don't want to put 2. You want to put 1 in the discard pile for VS Seeker. Keep the second one in the deck just in case you need a Jirachi for it. But 4 Battle Compressor just for consistency of drawing a Battle Compressor early, getting what you need in the discard pile, and going from there. The discard pile is usually a pretty big resource in the TCG, but in this deck, it is even more gigantic of a resource than in other decks. 1 Computer Search just for that last piece that you need in order to complete your Archie's puzzle. 4 Superior Energy Retrieval, not only for the discard part of it, but also if you Battle Compressor 3 energy into your discard pile, you can immediately Superior Energy Retrieval those 3 back into your hand, and then deluge them onto your Keldeo, or Primarina, or Mewtwo, or anything like that. So just, this deck has so much synergy. Almost all of the cards have amazing synergy with each other in non-typical ways, so I think that is what makes this deck so particularly cool. I really do like that. So 4 superiors, 4 Trainers Mail, just help with consistency, help getting, like, searching for the trainer card that you need. 4 Ultra Ball to guaranteed get what we want, and also discard. The discard part of Computer Search, Superior Energy Retrieval, and Ultra Ball are actually beneficial in this deck. So, I mean, there's no other reason to run anything else except for these guys. 4 via Seeker to reuse supporters, and then as for these supporters, we are only running 2-1 of N and Juniper. You might be thinking, wait, those are your draw supporters. Well, that is because we are running a couple Archie's Ace in the Hole. That's really going to be your main draw support in this deck. We'll combine that with Shaymin. But you Archies, draw 5, get a Blastoise and a Primarina out, get 5 cards, and hopefully you can explode a little bit more from there. Exeggcute also makes the 5-card hands work more for you, just because, I mean, if you draw into, like, a couple Ultra Balls, a Computer Search, and a Superior Energy Retrieval, you might be like, well, crap, I'm going to have to discard a bunch of stuff. Nope. Exeggcute comes through clutch. You just put those things back in your hand and discard them every single time to be able to get what you want. So, really, Exeggcute helps out a ton with the smaller hand that you're getting from Archie. So, just yet another bit of synergy right there. 1 Lysandre, you can't not use Lysandre. Can't not. I want to make sure that I said you can't not instead of cannot. You can't not use Lysandre. That card is just way too valuable in a lot of different matchups. Actually, just in literally every single game, Lysandre will have value in one way or another. Now, you might always need to use it, but Lysandre is always a valuable card, so never get rid of it. 2 Float Stone. I know Jacob ran a Muscle Band, however, really, I just decided that Float Stones were better. Put those on the Keldeos to have Rush In and Retreat. Put it on the Blastoise if your opponent plays a Silent Lab and tries to Lysandre it up and stall. I just like Float Stone a little bit better than Muscle Band, however, if you decide to run Muscle Band, more power to you. That's just my opinion. And then 11 Water Energy. You want 11 Water Energy because you want to hit with a bunch of damage with Bubble Beat and Secret Sword. And the big synergy that I forgot to mention is the synergy between Primarina and Keldeo. Bubble Beat, you only need 2 Water Energy on there, and it does more damage for each Water Energy attached to all of your Pokemon. That's where you load up Keldeo in the background. You put 2 energy on Primarina. That way you have 2 big attackers, and you can just put the big bulky Primarina out there to take hits, and Keldeo can only come in if you need it. But yeah, that is the deck. It's really, really awesome to use. It's very hard to pull off 2 Archies in a row, but once you pull it off, it actually feels great. So I'm going to stop talking. Let's go ahead and see this deck in action. Alrighty, we have found one against Marine Smurf with a Fighting Water Psychic Normal. I don't even know what my opponent is running, but either way, it looks kind of cool. We do win the coin flip. That means we will get to go first and hopefully set ourselves up to pull off back-to-back. Whatchamacallits. What am I even trying to say? Pull off back-to-back Archie Ace in the Hole. We do start with both of our Archie's targets, so we will have to mulligan. A bit unfortunate, especially considering I actually kind of liked my hand and it had the potential to be able to pull off a first turn Archie's, but either way, we will see. I get some stuff. Depending on what I Trainers Mail and Acro Bike for, I could definitely pull off a turn 2 Archies, or a turn 1 Archies. So, yep, this hand definitely has potential. If I can get a Battle Compressor and then potentially like an Ultra Ball or something like that, I could 100% pull this off. Heck, I could actually probably pull this off with just a Battle Compressor, getting a Water Energy into the discard pile. But oh, even better, I'm able to just Acro Bike, get a Water Energy in there. Trainers Mail, see if I can get something useful. I get nothing useful, and this is going to be complicated. So what I'm going to do is Superior Energy Retrieval, get rid of the Primarina and the Archies. Unfortunately, won't be able to Blastoise Archies first turn, but I will be able to Primarina Archies first turn, which, I mean, I'm not able to attack anyway, so that is fine for me. And then let's go ahead and Archies, get the Primarina down, and there we go. Turn 1, Archie's Ace in the Hole, and I have the cards for a turn 2 Archie's Ace in the Hole in order to get the Blastoise. So that is exactly what I want. Very, very good start for me. My opponent running a couple Pyukumuku. So, oh, this looks like kind of a... Okay, normally I hate stall decks, but this actually is kind of cool because I was not sure what Pyukumuku would be good for, and you know what? My opponent Team Skull grunted the 2 energy out of my hand. I'm fine with that. I mean, I'm going to be able to go ahead and Archie's Ace in the Hole this turn anyway in order to get a Blastoise. So really, I mean, that's fine. Let's go ahead and Battle Compressor, get rid of Exeggcute, and Blastoise probably. What do I have left? Okay, so my other Archies... Ooh, crap, I'm not going to be able to pull off an Archie's. Because my other Archie is prized and I don't have a VS Seeker. So that is very unfortunate right there. So basically what I'm going to do right here is just Exeggcute and, you know, go from there. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to Ultra Ball to grab a Shaymin, because if I can draw into 4 good cards that I can work with, then I can definitely still pull off the Archie's Ace in the Hole. I just need to grab a VS Seeker. So I'm going to Shaymin, get 4 more cards, hopefully a combination of stuff that I can get in Archie's with. Ugh, okay, VS Seeker, come on. Crap. So I get a Juniper. That's not what I wanted. So, whatever, I'm just going to go ahead and Keldeo, play Water Energy onto the Primarina, and Juniper away my hand. So, not able to pull off a turn 2 Blastoise, but, ooh, turn 3, definitely going to be able to pull off a Blastoise. I am just going to go ahead and Rough Seas, rush in with Keldeo, and then retreat, because, I mean, I can heal the damage off of my Keldeos a lot easier than I can off of Jirachi. In fact, I would have to use my GX attack in order to heal damage off of Jirachi, and I think that GX attack is actually going to come in really handy, particularly with the poison, the innards out, all of that combination of stuff. I think I'm going to have a lot of damage spread out, and then we see a continuous tackle. Wow, 3 heads in a row. So 90 damage. That was a pretty solid continuous tackle from my opponent. But what I am going to do is, all I need is a VS Seeker, and I'll be able to pull this off. Ooh, Battle Compressor. I want to grab that of the VS Seeker. I think I'm just going to grab the VS Seeker at this point. I have enough discard fodder that I will be able to pull off this turn to Archie's Ace in the Hole. Let's go ahead and discard the Blastoise and the Mewtwo. I can't grab anything because then I am just going to go ahead and Computer Search, get rid of the Acro Bike and the whatever else I had, the Keldeo, to grab another Rough Seas, just something that I could play down. And then I am going to Archie's Ace in the Hole once again, get my Blastoise out, and finally have a full setup. Especially with the 2 Exeggcute in the discard pile, if I draw Superior Energy Retrieval like I do, I will actually be able to attack with Primarina this turn, and then knock out a Pyukumuku. So that's a very good turn for me. I'm going to go ahead and double propagate, knock out the Pyukumuku with the Primarina, just because, I mean, this is the most, well, not double propagate, I need to get rid of the Jirachi anyway because I have no use for it. Get a whopping 6 energy onto the board, just get 2 onto the Primarina because that's all I need, and then power up both Keldeo with 3 energy. That way I have 2 backup attackers, and then my Primarina hitting for an absolute absurd amount of damage. And, I mean, I'm in a phenomenal spot. Let's just go ahead and heal some damage off of the Keldeo. I'm going to save the Trainer's Mail in case my opponent ends me. I can just have that later when I need it. Innards Out's going to do 60 damage to me, but that is not a big deal. I'm just going to get a prize card, which turns out to be another Superior Energy Retrieval. My opponent gets rid of my Rough Seas and then plays a Verbank down, and... Okay, they're Lysandre in the Keldeo. This isn't going to do anything because I do have Rush Tree. So, I mean, I win the game right here. But what I am going to do, play the energy onto the Keldeo and knock out with Primarina. But, unfortunately, we do not get to because my opponent realizes, oh, wait, this Keldeo can just knock me out anyway. I was going to go for the knockout with Primarina because that's who this deck is centered around. And I was like, you know what? Primarina deserves some spotlight because I really... don't see it getting a whole lot of spotlight overall, but this match was actually kind of a perfect showcase of Primarina. Unfortunately, we didn't get to play it out because my opponent just simply didn't draw another Pokemon, so I would have been able to bench him out and, I mean, knock out his last Pokemon, bench him out, and win the game right there that turn anyway. But had my opponent continued to play the game and continued to rack up damage, I would have just had different attackers rotating, and then when there just got to be too much damage on the field, I would have just used Primarina's GX attack, heal off all that damage, and at that point, I think my opponent would have conceded anyway. But yeah, pretty solid first match, able to double Archies, but let's go ahead and try to find another, hopefully longer one with this deck. Alrighty, we have found another one against Zhang Shang, I think. I don't know. I want to say I said that right, but I am probably way, way off. With a fire deck, so we will have the type advantage. I do want to go first because, I mean, who wouldn't want to go first? And I start with a, you know what? I start with the Shaymin, but I'm going to be able to pull off a turn 1 Archies. So I am fine with that. I'm curious to see, oh, my opponent's running a Talonflame break deck. So this could actually be pretty interesting because even though my opponent will have fire types, Talonflame is not weak to water. Why my opponent has the Squirtle sleeves, I will never understand. But either way, I mean, it's going to be an interesting match. It is definitely going to be an interesting match. I probably am going to be able to overwhelm them just because they... Well, actually, with a Muscle Band, Talonflame will be able to one-shot my Primarinas. Or, not my Primarinas, my Keldeo. So, Primarina is definitely going to be 100% the MVP of this match. I'm going to go start first turn by getting rid of double Blastoise and Exeggcute, simply because I can just battle Compressor for another, well, I can just computer search for another battle Compressor. That's what I was trying to say. So I am going to go ahead and computer search for that. Both Archies I have in my deck. So, well, actually, I mean, I'm going to be getting rid of the Archies anyway with Jirachi, or getting rid of Jirachis anyway, so I really won't be able to search it out if I need it a second time. But let's go ahead and get rid of Exeggcute, a Primarina, and an Archies. I could have gotten rid of both Primarina, but I want to be able to VS Seeker for the Archies anyway. And I mean, also this way I can go ahead and Ultra Ball for a Primarina or a Keldeo. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and Ultra Ball for a Keldeo because I mean I can always Ultra Ball for. Actually, you know what? I did that in the wrong order. I should have first Ultra Balled for the Primarina, then Exeggcute propagated, discard the Primarina, and then Ultra Ball for the Keldeo. So I did that in the wrong order, so I'm going to have one less bench space to work with. So a little bit of a misplay on my part, but that just comes with kind of inexperience with this deck. Let's grab another Keldeo as another attacker. And I'm going to be able to pull off the first turn Archies. That's never a bad thing. A first turn Archie is always a good thing, whether you get the ideal setup or not. Because, I mean, you're going to go through a lot of resources to get a turn 1 Archie, and I actually have the resources that I need for a turn 2 Archie. So I'm very content with that. I'm going to double Trainers Mail, just see what I can get. And I will have the stuff to pull off another Archie. So what I am going to do, immediately rush in with my Keldeo, let that thing take a hit, and then hold on to my hand, because I want to have my discard and hand thinning options in case my opponent does end me. That way I can still be able to pull off a turn 2 Archies for the Primarina. So very good first turn for me. I'm going to be able to even deluge for a bunch of energy onto my Keldeo. My opponent is just going to play a Muscle Band and a Fire Energy onto the Talonflame, and then Sycamore for 7 new cards. That is a very good start for my opponent. Actually, my opponent has to be careful, because unless he gets something else up, I will be able to win. And even though my opponent Trainers Mails for an Ultra Ball, he's just gonna, just gonna go ahead and Aero Blitz, not bench anything. So if I get 2 more energy, I win. I mean, just plain and simple. Because I already have 1, and then I can load up my Keldeo to hit for 130 to knock out this Talonflame for sure. Which, I mean, that's very dangerous for my opponent. My opponent really should have played something else down. And wow, I even get the VS Seeker. So what I think I'm going to do immediately is Ultra Ball, get rid of the energy and the Acro Bike to grab... I want to grab Mewtwo? No, I want to grab Primarina. I want to grab Primarina because I'm going to be discarding it with the Superior Energy Retrieval just to get that energy back into my hand. Well, actually, I mean, why bother discarding the Archies because I already have the VS Seeker. Why bother discarding the Archies because I'm just going to VS Seeker for the Archie anyway. attach the energy to my Keldeo, Archies, get my Primarina out, and we are able to double Archies again. So a very, very solid beginning for us. Let's Rough Seas. Go ahead and Trainers Mail, see what we can get. Let's grab an Acro Bike. Yeah, just to get some more cards, see what we can work with. Acro Bike, see what we get. Let's grab the Float Stone, because I can always get the energy back with Superior Energy Retrieval, and then Shaymin for 4 cards, see what all I can do. And so I actually can win the game right here with just a Keldeo attacking, but honestly, what fun would that be if I just attacked with Keldeo? Because, I mean, you guys already have seen from... I mean, I know I haven't done anything on the channel with it, but you guys have already seen you've already seen Honorstoise do its thing, Archie's Blastoise and Keldeo do its thing. What you haven't seen is Primarina do its thing, and I'll be honest, double Archies is ridiculously difficult to pull off. I mean, I really have had to be selective with my matches for this live, because, I mean, I've had trouble pulling off double Archies. I'm just going to be honest right here. I'm going to play the Float Stone onto the Blastoise just in case my opponent plays the Silent Lab. That way I don't have to worry about all the retreating and stuff. And then I could have won with the Keldeo. But again, like I said, what fun would that be? I'm going with the Primarina just because Primarina is... I mean, okay, Primarina's bae. I'm just going to throw that out there. Primarina is bae. My opponent will be able to get a Fletchling down in a Talonflame breakup. So, I mean, I hope my opponent realizes that I really just let him back into the game. Like, I allowed him to not lose on that last turn. So my opponent is going to be able to Lysandre in my Blastoise and knock it out with a Flare Blitz. I mean, I already have the knockout on the Talonflame break anyway, but if I draw the right card, I can actually Archies again, which would be pretty ridiculous. So, oh my gosh, I'm going to be able to pull off 3 straight Archies. Oh, I'm so glad that I decided to play this match out and not just knock out my opponent immediately and play this match, because now I'm going to be able to Archies for the 3rd turn in a row, get that Blastoise right back on out here, and oh, that was awesome. And I even get the Battle Compressor, so I can load up energy all onto my field. So let's Battle Compressor, get rid of 2 energy, because I can execute Superior Energy Retrieval, that energy back, load up all of my Keldeos to be able to attack. And here's the thing. Do I want to load up a Keldeo with... Do I want to load up both Keldeos with 3 energy, or do I want to load up 1 Keldeo with 4 and 1 with 2? I think the play is to load up 1 with 4 just so I can have a backup attacker that can one-shot a Talonflame, and then... Yeah, 4 and 2 I think is the play, and then Primarina is going to be able to just Bubble Beat, knock out the Talonflame. I could have gone for the Primarina's 120 base power attack, but you know what? This is more fun. Just Bubble Beating while having 2 backup attackers, so my opponent has to worry about the Keldeos and the Primarinas at the same time. And we see the Bursting Balloon come down. Not a big deal, because, I mean, I will get damaged, but I can always just heal that right back off. And my opponent, even if my opponent got a Talonflame, they would have gotten knocked out that turn anyway. So, please don't. They're just going to go for a Glide. So, I kind of sort of win right here. Yeah, okay. So, even though I let my opponent into the game, I mean, I could have won that 2nd turn, like I said, but what fun would that be? Primarina was able to come through. You got to see me get 3 straight Archies, which, I'll be honest, I have no idea how... Actually, I've never been able to do that before. So, I mean, that was really awesome being able to pull off 3 straight Archies. This deck is really cool if you're able to pull it off, but in practice, getting 2 straight Archies in order to get your board set up, and then also kind of forfeit a turn of board setup in order to keep the resources you need for an Archies the next turn, really does hinder this deck, because with Honorstoise, you play down for Archies and then you just explode from there. With this deck, you kind of had to conserve. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that stuff. And this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.